Yo, 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 welcome back to SACKUP. Man, technical difficulties this morning. Holy crap. I haven't recorded one of these for a while, and yeah, it's like relearning a language. So anyway, without further ado, I have a very special guest. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Michael Dixon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, everybody.
So, Michael, I'm going to have you give just a little bit of backstory on yourself. You worked for Feasel.
Mm-hmm.
You started, what was it, Elevate?
Legacy.
Legacy.
Yeah, even before then, if you want me to go
all
story,
the way back.
Full
all
story?
the way back.
Cool. So yeah, 2010 into 2011, I started with a company named Ohio Roofing Solutions. They were out of Southern Columbus, right? I was with them for about 6 years. I got out of the industry for 2 years, came right back when Feasel called. They wanted an office opened in a different state. They wanted to start doing that. So I moved to Indiana, got back into the roofing industry.
So they called you?
Called me. Yeah.
How did they even how did they know Michael Dixon?
So Ohio Roofing Solutions was started by, I'll shout him out, Matt Mabe. He's one of the G's in the industry. He started Ohio Roofing Solutions, and he went to help Feasel as well. And so Feasel, Matt Mabe, introduced to me. So
okay,
that's how we got started with Feasel. And then, from there, it kind of grew in the knowledge. Feasel had a lot of good, leaders on their team that could teach us. Even people that are in the building department right now in Columbus were head people at Feasel at the time, right? So it was like college for me. I dedicated many years to Feasel, and I learned a lot from that. And I came back to Columbus after opening up Indiana, and we started a designer window program, which sounds kind of funny, but we were selling, 5,000 to 10,000 window units, and we figured out a program to rip that. And so we pushed a lot of numbers with that, and I realized that my skill set wasn't just in roofing, it wasn't just in sales, it was more of a variety of things that I was very skilled in. So I immediately left Feasel and went to consulting.
Okay. And guys, I seriously downplayed Michael's introduction. The reason I brought Michael on the show is because Michael and I haven't really been friends for very long.
No.
But, we connected over Christ. Michael is very religious. You would consider yourself very religious?
Yeah, for sure.
More so, we grew up in the church, but, when Brittany and I moved up to Columbus, we didn't have like a home-based church. Mm-hmm. So we kind of stopped going. I wouldn't say that I got away from Christ, but more so recently have definitely found my way back. And Michael has, reached out and offered support, and this guy is a fucking stud. You're 33.
Yeah.
He's literally started, grown and sold, I think, multiple businesses. Mm-hmm. And now he runs Evolve My Home. So seriously downplayed the intro there. Forgive me. This is my first podcast in over a year.
Yeah, you're solid.
So for those of you listening, listen up, because this guy has a ton of value to provide. So anyway, keep going.
Yeah, my ADHD brain, we just jump into how I started. But yeah, my name's Mike Dixon. Me and my wife own Evolve Roofing and Siding. And I'd consider myself an entrepreneur more than just a roofing company owner.
Okay.
So, yeah. Back to the story.
So we'll start it there, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to give the history of when I started and just say that again?
Sure.
Okay.
No, dude, we got all that.
All right. So I started working with
10
Feasel.
to 15,000 units for Feasel.
Yeah, so in perspective, in the roofing game, you start a new program in your company, you're expecting that to maybe push up $1 to $2 million a year its first year in pilot mode, right? So in pilot mode, $150 million company is saying, hey, Mike, we're going to teach you the basics and figure it out for our company. And so from there, it turned into the first year, in the first 6 months, we had $2.6 million already generated and sold.
In the first 6 months?
First 6 months, yeah. So, I'm going to get raw here. I came back to Feasel and said, hey, I'm going to push 10 to 15 million this year. I need an extra % to make this worth it because this is a lot of work.
Do you mind me asking what your pay was at the time?
$75K, 2% off of everybody under me, and 5% off of 5 to 10% off of what I sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they give you like a company truck
trucks,
and
cards, company card. Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of was. I had my own thing under them. You know, I just had to be a W-2 employee for tax reasons. So, yeah, Feasel didn't want to give me an extra 1%. Totally fine. Totally get it. I understand. And I decided to consult right after that. So my very first move was to my favorite place in the world, which is Colorado. And so I just picked up my phone and started cold calling people. And it took 2 phone calls to land my first contract. So I knew.
Now, who are you cold calling? Restoration companies?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would Colorado Springs Roofing Company. You'll find Red Oak Exteriors. I think it's second down because it was a second company. So I flew out there. I stayed with the owner. He taught me what his processes were. And immediately he put a guy under me, which was going to be a sales manager. And I mentored this kid for, I think it was a week and a half on how he should be going about the market. But Colorado is a lot different. They get huge hail all the time, right? So there's a lot of challenges and stuff that come with that. So he needed more help of like, how do I break into a market? And if you want to go door to door, what would that be? So we were driving up into the mountains of Colorado to find houses that have never been talked to. You know, from there, I decided I wanted to stay home with my kids. I didn't want to just keep traveling. I went to DC, went to Texas. I was done.
Where you grew up in Columbus,
Ohio.
So what made you think like, oh, I'm just going to consult in Colorado?
So my wife lived there for 9 months when we were dating. Our first 9 months of dating, she lived in Colorado. Somehow we stayed together even though we weren't together. And I just fell in love with the mountains. So
Okay.
I thought to myself, everything I do, I have other reasons I'm doing it. Typically, I want to find happiness. That's my other reason here. I knew my happiness was in the mountains. So my first phone call was going to be to Colorado, no matter what. I was going there. I was going to land a contract. I was going to go pursue this.
Second call.
Second call, yeah.
Okay.
Second phone call. And I think the first one didn't answer, which is crazy. But
So like as a consultant, let's dive into that just for a second. Like you obviously flew out there. You're
Yeah.
basically probably living with your girlfriend at the time or, you know, whatever. So
we were married.
married
Yeah.
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Consulting, you're not technically working for the company, but you're working for the company.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just hire you?
I think the opportunity for them when I called them, because I knew what their pain was. I was in the business. I knew what their pain was. So immediately I said, hey, just calling real quick. I know you guys had a huge hailstorm. Real quick, do you have leaders in your company or a couple sales guys that could really just sit under some really good leadership or maybe some processes you could need help with? And from then he got into, he's starting a sales team. He doesn't know how to train them. He can do it himself. And that's the typical thing you'll see in our industry, right? So, yeah, I came in, and it's weird when you're consulting because it's not like I'm working with a business exactly how I want it to look, right? And that's why I kind of didn't like some parts of it, is because I couldn't have as much control. I had all these boundaries. So when I came into an office, it would be for a goal. A lot of times it would be for a sales team, sales leadership. They can't figure out a market. They can't break it. There was always a reason, a pain point that I went after. And then from there, I just dissect it, and we figure out the very first thing is you have to look back and see where's all your customers, right? And so I would do that with business owners, and we'd figure out, how did you currently get business? Where's your market gap you're missing? And is there anything you're doing you just need to do more of? And from there, we can kind of push and take back and manipulate.
So you're in the truck with these guys, actually pushing them to door knock and whatnot.
Yeah.
Helping them with pitches, helping them break the ice.
Yeah, and specifically, the week after I left Feasel, I was in Colorado, right? I know that the question the owner had was, how do we break this market and knock it? Like, I've knocked this market so many times. They get hailstorms every single year. So the very first thing we did was go back to his previous clients, like people you've already served. Their house is already damaged. That's low-hanging fruit. And then we started to get to the higher hanging fruit where we could use more strategy to get the fruit, if that makes sense.
So how are you getting paid?
Yeah, typically it would be per week or per job or per day. It just depends on the person. You know, being new at consulting, I did it for Feasel very well. Like, they would throw me on lots of tasks and I would consult and I would figure it out. But doing it for somebody else, how many hours is going to take, how much stress. And really my first few clients, I'm just trying to break. I'm just trying to break in. Now I'm trying to use those as referrals to get more business. You know what I mean?
So it's not like an annual salary per se. It's just okay.
That's not how I started at all. So I came back from Colorado. We just got done with Texas. They had a hailstorm. Just got done with DC. They had a hailstorm. Awesome. I'm sitting at home and I'm thinking about my kids because at the time they're like 1 and 2, 2 and 3, somewhere in that range. And I realized like they're going to be happier if I'm here. They're going to be happier if Dad's in the picture every day. So I decided to consult in Columbus. And so what did I do? I picked up the phone and I figured out what roofing company I would go after. And I didn't know who I wanted to work with, but I trained a guy in Indiana, and he moved back to Ohio and started a company. I'm not going to say this company's name, but he started a company, and he was doing repairs off of Angie's List, and that's how he was doing everything. He wasn't doing any full replacements, and so I just told him straight up, you're losing money. I'll come on board. This one was an agreement, a salary deal, so they had to pay me $2,000 a week for me just to come into their office. And then I got paid additionally off the sales guys, whatever revenue was brought into the company. So that was a lot of help for me my first full year because they did give me that backbone to stabilize. At that time, Rachel already knew how to sell. So whatever company I was consulting with, I had a right-hand, beautiful woman ready to go hit the ground pretty hard. And so when I came onto the first company, immediately they got $1 million. Immediately, just here's $1 million from Rachel being with me. And then from there, I built the sales team. So I built out, that first company was 4 sales guys. And I think our first year we did 3.5. And they started us off around March is when I started my contract with that company. So
wow,
we hit the ground running. They had no clue what they were doing, which led me into supplementing, which that's kind of how we know each other, to be honest, with the roofing. So every time there's an insurance claim, for people that don't know, the insurance are not roofers and they write an estimate super small. And they're missing code items. You have to come back and say, hey, you're missing these items. Well, the company wasn't doing that. Immediately, I started a supplementing company, and Tammy was my assistant, and I found a third-party exactament writer to write all my exactaments and argue. She stole $6,000 from me, and so now it's just me and Tammy. And so I said, Tammy, I want you to learn how to write estimates, and I'm going to teach you everything I know regarding this, because when you know this, Jared, when you're running like a sales team that's new, they need you. They need a leader. They need to have questions. They're going to land a $90K deal, and they're going to want you to come in and just be a voice right behind them to help them get that ink on the paper, right?
100%.
So I wanted to have a singular focus instead of being so wide. So Tammy immediately started working with me to write estimates. At first, it was just writing it, and then I would argue, and then I taught her the arguing until she had formed her own complete business with doing this.
She got really good at arguing.
Dangerous, yeah.
Dangerous is a great adjective.
Yeah. So, yeah, I now have, if you think about this with me, I'm
how
consulting.
Old are you?
Oh,
at this point, like
24
what year is this?
I was 24 when Fiesel called me
Okay.
to come to Indiana. Hey, can you start this? And then that lasted 3.5 years. So I'm like 27, 28 in between there.
Okay.
Yeah. And so as I'm sitting there working with this company, there's 2 owners, and one of the owners I saw all the time. One of the owners I never saw, like never. So at the end of the year, I like to do a recap with whoever I'm working with. So I recapped with them, and I said, you guys had a great year. Very successful. I appreciate paying me on time, paying all the guys on time. So let's look into the next year and what do you guys think? And this meeting, only one owner showed up to, and we're meeting. He's like, I think we'll just go again next year, and we'll just go, push a little harder. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I said, well, if you want me to be honest and you're paying me money to be honest, I think that you should split. I think that you 2 owners should go to 2 different roofing companies, and you each put in the work for your company, because partnerships is tough, dude. One person is always going to feel like they're doing more. You know what I mean? It's just the reality of partnerships. So he said, I'm going to split off, but would you be my partner? And so from consulting, I got invited to be an owner. I knew there was a lot of stress into it, and that's why I didn't really want to pursue it, because I know what you're going through every day, and you know what I'm going through every day, right? So I already worked with business owners. I knew why they needed me as a consultant. They showed me all that. I did it. I jumped into it full force. Legacy Exteriors, 2019.
So there is a Legacy
Yes.
Roofing.
Legacy Roofing, yes.
So Legacy Exteriors is different.
Separate.
Okay.
Yep. Legacy Roofing does primarily commercial.
Okay.
We never saw them or anything. Legacy Exteriors, we did roofing, siding, gutters.
I'm surprised they didn't
masonry.
try and.
Oh, they did.
Okay.
After I left.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Legacy was awesome, dude. We killed it. Like our first year, I mean, compared to Roof Kings, you guys did a lot your first couple years too. You know what I mean? I think you guys did more than kill it. But
Well, thank you.
I think our first year we did like 3.5.
Your first year.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's fantastic.
Like right there. Because you have to think, I already consulted with this business owner. Here, I set his business up to do it the way I wanted to do it. And I already had my whole, when I talked to you a couple days ago about my whole sales team, my whole everybody, I had been doing this for a decade. You know, I've been doing this long enough that people knew my name and I knew their name, and they trusted me and I trusted them. I paid them checks and they spent a lot of money. You know what I mean? So I had the guys. Let me pause real quick. There's something that happened that put all of this into motion that I forgot to talk about. When I was at Fiesel, I started another company. I started a company called HC Enterprise because I was just a sales rep at one time at Fiesel. At the very beginning, I was just kind of like, I was in my own office, but it was just me and a couple guys, and I still had to sell roofs, you know, to make it work. So I think every sales guy that's listening to this should listen to what I'm saying. I recruited my own canvassers.
Oh my God! Will you drop the mic really quick?
Yeah, right. I paid out of my pocket $75 for a canvasser. I went to Fiesel and said, I'll give you leads for $125. How's that sound?
Well, everyone at Roof King, please listen up.
So I paid these guys out of my own pocket. HC Enterprise, a business I started. I paid for these guys to come knock doors for Fiesel. But
dude, why would you pay out of your own pocket?
Right, why would it be in our pocket? Because I made $50 per lead my team got my team. So I set up canvassers in a company that got paid by Fiesel to set leads for me. So
only you.
The hard part in sales, if anybody is in here in sales knows, is canvassing and sales. It's a lot easier if you have a canvasser before you when you sell because you can do more as a salesperson. You can knock them out. But if you have to canvass those yourself, you're getting half the work done in a day. Right? A canvasser's sole focus is to set the lead for the sales guy. The sales guy's sole focus is to take the lead and fucking close it. Right? So I did that for myself because I wanted to make more money. And I know a lot of people probably come to me and come to you and say, you know, I had a great year. How can I make more money? What can I do different? I didn't ask those questions. I started a company to bring me more money. I wasn't going to let Fiesel dictate how many leads I got. I wasn't going to dictate.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Proactive.
So, now think about this. HC Enterprise, this canvassing company that I started with my wife in an apartment in Indiana, turned into all those sales guys coming to my company in the future, right? So now I'm at Legacy Exteriors with tons of strings attached to me with all these sales guys now seeing Mike just made me a bunch of money. Mike just proved himself to me. I'm going to work for Mike. And so they all came to Legacy. All of them did.
Let me ask you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just come out of the womb knowing how to knock doors. So when you're hiring these canvassers, are you initially knocking with them?
Yeah.
Are you role playing? Are you daily training?
Yeah. So everybody knows in canvassing, it's so in the roofing world. Let me just say this, just in case there's somebody listening that does door to door and doesn't know. Roofing canvassing is different than, let's say, you're selling windows or pest control. Right? I know I talked to a guy at your office that did pest control, and I laughed. I'm like, bro, you're going to love your life. Because roofing, you're selling a free inspection. Hey, we just had some damage come across. Did you guys see the storm that happened to come through? Yeah, we're just going to hop up real quick and take a look for you guys, right? That's a canvassing lead for roofing. I can teach you in 30 seconds. So how I learned was somebody taught me in an office for 30 minutes, and then I went out to the field. So when I had my guys, I was teaching them pitches, and we were knocking together, but we'd knock on opposite sides of the street. Like if they needed support, we were still there. But the good thing is these guys had been with me so long that I didn't really have to train anybody once I got to owning my own roofing company. But nowadays we do it a little bit differently with how we train. There's a mixture of classroom, accountability, and field training. So you have to kind of like show them the first couple yeses so they believe you that it's that easy. You know what I mean?
Knock on my door real quick.
Yeah.
Let's do a little role play.
And when I was 18, I'll do my pitch when I was 18. This is the first pitch I ever learned.
Okay. Yeah.
Not lying.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Okay. Knock, knock, knock.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, I'll be honest, I really don't have that much time.
Yeah, no problem. I'm actually selling snapping turtles in the neighborhood, and I just wanted to see if you're interested.
I'm good, dude.
I'm not selling snapping turtles. We had a big storm come through. Did you guys see it?
That is fucking brilliant.
Dude, and it worked. I hate this pitch, but I have to say it because it's how I pitch everything. It's disruption.
Dude, it's psychologically, it's like
it's
the
pattern
doom
disrupt.
scrolling. Exactly.
Pattern
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, so that's how I started. That's the only pitch I learned.
Brilliant.
But, yeah, now it's a little bit different if you want me to
So
pitch
you weren't
now.
actually selling snapping turtles?
No. It made everyone laugh, though.
I bet.
And what I found is if you can make them laugh, you can make them pay. No, I'm
Make
just
a
kidding.
friend, make a sale. Well, dude, I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, though. So
Yeah.
that was your first pitch.
Very first pitch, selling snapping turtles. And 100% credit to Matt Mave. If you don't know him, you should look him up and add him on Facebook. He's a goat of door knocking.
Dude, I'm going to start using that in my training.
Oh,
I
it's
love
pattern
that.
disrupt, because what happens is we have our selling patterns. They have their buying patterns, right? There's two different things. So we could come into what's called a buyer-seller dance where, we're going to say something. They're going to give us an objection. We're going to go back and forth. Or we can take their normal pattern of behavior. Probably should get closer to the mic. You can take their normal pattern of behavior and disrupt it from the beginning, and then they don't know what to do next, right? So if you're going to Best Buy, you know somebody's going to come up to you and talk to you. But if you went into Best Buy and somebody came over with a free coffee and handed it to you, that'd be a pattern disrupt. When I'm at a door now, I don't say snapping turtles. I say, kind of random. The very first thing I say, every single door.
Well, hold on. Let's run it.
All right. Hey, kind of random. Did you guys see what's going on in the neighborhood?
What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised too. Actually, we had a storm come through in April.
Oh, man, we've had a bunch of people knock on the door.
Yeah. Did you have the insurance come by yet?
We don't have money for insurance, man.
You don't have insurance?
I mean, we have insurance. We just don't have money for, to pay for the roof.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people in your neighborhood are saying the exact same things, but there's a reason why the insurance is coming out. Did you get your roof inspected?
Dude, no, we haven't had it inspected.
Well, I'll tell you what. It seems like you're not interested. There's probably a ton of people coming to your door every day. Can I just show you how to get them off your doorstep once and for all? It sounds like that's what you really want.
That is definitely what I want.
Yeah. Let me hop up and give you an inspection, and I'll give it to you in your cell phone. And the next time somebody comes to your house to give you an inspection, you can say mine's done, because there's a reason why we're coming out to you, man. Right? So,
dropping bombs.
How old's the roof?
It's a little bit newer. It's like 10 years old.
Okay. And then half and half here in the neighborhood. Have you had leaks?
Yeah, we actually have a leak upstairs.
Okay. I'm going to hop up. It's going to take me 10 minutes. And then once I come down, do you mind if we have a quick chat?
Sure, man.
Sweet. And what insurance company do you have?
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, I'm going to get an inspection. I'm going to hop down and hopefully everything's okay. It sounds like you're not too worried about it.
I mean, not really. We just don't have the money, man.
Yeah, completely. There's a program through your insurance actually that would help counteract that cost off of you. You pay for it every single month. So the money that you're actually talking about, you're paying them every single month, and it's for coverage. Well, we just had this hailstorm and a lot of your neighbors are getting new roofs. Why? It's because they're paying for it every month. So you're right. You don't have to have the money up front. You already paid it the last 5 years on your house. So it might be the time to actually activate that and take advantage of something that's owed to you, right?
Well,
so
man,
if you had true damage, let me ask you this. If you had true damage, you'd want it taken care of, right?
Yeah. I would.
Okay.
I got in a car accident last month, and we had to file a claim on the truck, though. So, aren't they going to drop me?
So were you at fault or not at fault?
It was my fault.
Okay, so let's think about it this way. The fault here was God. God created the weather. The weather created hail. Hail hit your house. And you've been paying for something every single month. You've been handing somebody $150 for something that says, if you got it, we will pay. So if you're already giving them the money, why wouldn't you just activate something you're paying for every single month? That makes more sense, right?
So, what's a roof going to cost me?
Yeah, a roof like this, out of pocket, if you call me up, 25, 30 grand, a lot of money.
Dude, I don't have that.
Yeah. So that's why you've already, what I'm saying here is every single month you pay for it. You don't have to worry about coming up with that 35 grand out of pocket.
So, what is it going to cost, though?
I'm not sure if you even qualify, man. To be honest, I think the very first step before we put the cart in front of the horse, let's let the horse direct it. I'll go do an inspection, And if there's something to talk about, then it'd be worth stressing and thinking over a little bit longer. Does that make sense?
Guys, if you are in door-to-door sales, that was $1 million pitch right there. Not only did Michael use the Jones effect, he broke the ice, he used a pattern disruptor, and he created urgency by saying, I don't even know if you qualify.
Yep.
People want to qualify.
Yeah, because you were starting to talk too much, right? Like when somebody talks that much, my red flag goes up and says, this guy's going to talk himself out of the sale if I don't interrupt it and lead him. Because what I did was I just led you to what you needed. You said no. I realized you said no. I said you probably don't need anything. I talked to you about your insurance, right?
Well, you also touched on, you read the room. You were like, hey, man, I can tell. Like,
yeah, I don't have money for it. Well, yeah, because you already spent it on paying for it.
Dude, if you guys are in door-to-door sales, go back and re-listen to that. That was was a lot of value.
Yeah.
That is a great pitch.
Yeah. I'm a little rusty too. But
well, hey, that was perfect. I would have let you on the roof. I probably would have let you on the roof with fucking snapping turtles.
And dude, what really gets me, and we can get back to all the other stuff. I'm getting a little deep here, but what really gets me is that people will hear somebody say, man, I don't have the money for it. Or you said, I don't have insurance. Like they'll just mark it on their iPad, lost, gone. Like 90% of my sales, they say no to me. Like 90%. You think when I called that roofing company, he was like, how many years you been in business, bub? You think I lied to him and stuff? No, straight up. You're my first client. I'm going to come and change your world, bro.
Oh, wow, you actually were transparent like that?
Yes, yeah. Like, hey,
nice.
I just worked with a $150 million roofing company. I helped them make tons of money. So do you want it to be your turn or not? I'm willing to help you very cheap for what you're going to get from me. You know what I mean?
One of the biggest things that we train on is no is not a no.
No.
And you have to actually like erase that programming. No can be a yes.
Yeah.
That is just basically them putting up a wall.
Yeah.
You just got to break down the wall.
You know, the thing I love about pitching, live pitching in front of homeowners and stuff, is that I don't have to like come up with these scenarios and I can get it out of them. So let me go into this. There's two types of sales that I believe in my company. I train all my guys. We're going to be impulse. Impulse is going to be the Jones effect, indifference, fear of loss, and sense of urgency. We're going to use those things. We're going to use our words to manipulate. And there's good manipulation. There's not all bad. Like we're going to use our words to manipulate the other person to making a decision in our favor, right? And so what are we going to do? Oh, we have this one last steak left in my freezer and it can go to you, right? We see door-to-door people doing that. Jones effect is my favorite one, obviously, and impulse factors work. But what I find even more, if you go back and listen to our pitch, I asked you questions. Questions-based sales allows you to pain-based sale. I don't know if you got it, but if you got it, you better use what you pay for every single month, right? We have a pain-based sales. So when I when I train my canvassers and my sales guys, like we have two directions here. We can use our words to manipulate, and we can do some of that and make it sound pretty, and I'll use your neighbor, build the trust. But I could also just ask questions. If you heard one thing I said, it's been 50-50 in your neighborhood. Did you guys happen to have a leak in your home? I know the builders didn't spend much time when they put the roofs on here. That alone question gets me in half the houses I talk to. Yeah, I had a leak upstairs. Okay, before I do the inspection, can I build more trust with you? And why don't you show me where the leak's at so that way I can see it on the roof?
One of the things I actually said on the way over here was that where a lot of sales guys mess up is they think the close is the most important part of the sales cycle.
It's the setup.
And it's the discovery.
Yeah.
It's actually asking questions.
It is.
Dude, that was brilliant.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to train on that.
Sweet.
So to keep progressing, because we got in the weeds a little bit there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we did. That was a lot of value.
I think if we paused and left off, I think we're right at the spot where I'm starting my first company.
Yeah.
Which was really awesome. Legacy Exteriors. We started, I think, with 6 or 7 sales guys, but good. They
Still
knew
in
what they were
business
doing.
today?
We can talk about that.
Okay. We'll touch on that later.
Yeah. I'll go through that.
And then you pulled the canvassers.
Got all I took my HC Enterprise. Hey, boys, good thing is I don't have to give you to another roofer. You're going to be with me. And the other good thing is I think half of you qualify to be able to close deals and make triple the amount of money.
Nice.
Boom, right? So I got them in. And I think 100%, we didn't start with any canvassers. We said, everybody knock your own doors, right? So we went out. Same thing happened, we started to produce money. I believe first year, like I said, was 3.5. The next one was 4.5. We're getting to year 2.5. So if starting a business, your first 2 years, you're really just not making money and setting foundational things in your company to push you forward the 3, 4, and 5 years, right? You do make money, but it's not like what you would think if you're a sales guy. I'm going to go start my roofing company, the type of money I can make. You're good? So, yeah, we pushed it real hard. We're starting to finally see that the money that we were wanting to see come in, and things are starting to progress and turn. And I'm not against anything. Mushrooms, weed. I'm not against natural things that are grown in the ground. But one day I got a phone call from my partner, and I knew he'd been doing psychedelics recently, and it was the weirdest call. And it broke me. But he said, "Hey, Mike, I'm stealing the company." He straight up told me, "Dude, I'm taking the company from you. I'm taking every sales guy." And I think he offered me $150,000 just to leave and not say anything. And I called him crazy. I was like, "You're insane, dude. There's no way that's going to happen." And so we talked, and I was like, "Well, what makes you think the business is yours?" And this is where I started to identify where he believed he owned the company, and that even though we were partners on paper and legally. So we went.
So you had an operating agreement.
50-50. 50-50.
Had a bank account.
There was a lot of sketchy things that were done in there, which I didn't catch being a first-time business owner of a roofing company. So there were some things that he did that I didn't see. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because I was ignorant. I didn't double check. I didn't do my homework. A lot of it's my own fault. You know, we could sit here and say, you did this. But like, Mike, did you ever have attorneys look at everything after it was set up? No, I should have. I should have everything. But no, I made money off of it. I sold it to him. And November 2022.
You actually sold it to him. All that hard work that you put in.
Yeah.
Why?
The decision was made, and I didn't realize that had already been talked about, I believe, behind my back. So imagine if you're a sales manager and you have a company you're working for with 2 owners, and then they come to you and say, "Hey, I'm getting rid of one of the owners, but there's going to be huge opportunities for you since I don't have another partner." What's that going to make you believe? That you're going to become partner, which is what they did. So, you know, me and my wife had already been talking about it. I feel like the culture in my first roofing company was ass, and I wasn't happy at all.
What gave him the confidence to call you? And actually, let me even back up. If you had helped him that much, where's the appreciation? Where's the loyalty?
Yeah. I might get a couple texts after this, but we've seen him do it now with 2 other guys. Like we've seen, this was a play to get all of my salespeople onto his team and dump me. You've seen it. You probably had a sales guy on your team, and another blank builders came by and said, "Hey, I want to come. You want to come sell some real roofs? Jared thinks he knows what he's doing. Let me get you. Come over my team, dude. I'll give you a $20K signing bonus. Come ride in my whatever car I drive." Right? So, they'll steal that guy, and then that guy tries to steal the whole sales team. Like this is just a play that's been done, and so I think really saw my capabilities. Shoot, can we edit out the name?
Yeah, we'll throw it
Okay. I think this person just saw an opportunity to try to get everything I had on my sales team. But the cool thing about this was that I didn't need him to succeed, but he needed me to succeed. Like I held a lot of skills. So, dude, I prayed about it and I thought about it, and Rachel and I agreed. We're just going to go, Rachel and I, no salespeople. We're going to do it ourselves, because there's 2 different models here, right? Like you can bring on a bunch of salespeople and scale it, and you can try to hit that 20, 30 million in your first 5 to 10 years. Or you can be a Joe Schmo roofing, small time. I can put up $2 million a year.
No
My
overhead.
wife can put up $2 million a year. We can do it out of our house. No overhead. If I do $4 million, just me and Rachel, I'm rich.
Yeah, you're making some money.
I don't have any stress. So I'm coming off of doing 4.9. You know that stress. I was the influence there. I was training the sales guys, right? So I prayed about it a lot, man, honestly. And my confidence, dude, you know, it was hit, you know, knowing that something you created doesn't want you anymore. I knew it was because selfish reasons, but it hurt, you know, it hurt all my sales guys. So
They didn't want to come with you?
Dude, I called every single guy and said, "Hey, I'm not going to be here anymore. And I are parting. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of any of this anymore. Stay with You'll have a good life. Literally what I told them. And one guy, shout out my boy, Andrew Simpson. Andrew Simpson called me twice. He called me and said, hey, are you sure I can't come work with you? I said, nah, dude, I'm not doing it. Like, it's just me and Rachel. We're going to do this, dude. You're going to see me kill it. You're going to see me get rich. And he's like, I get it, dude. Called me back a few days later. Mike, can you please reconsider? And now Andrew's the very top person at my company. He runs my whole sales team.
Nice.
He's my dude, right? So that's the only guy I brought with me. And I think our first year we recruited 3 or 4. I wasn't trying to. I didn't even want to bring Andrew on, but yeah. So now
so he didn't make you sign a non-compete when he bought you out?
No.
Do you mind if I ask what he bought you out for?
I honestly don't even know the exact number.
Over 200?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this was like a multi-million-dollar deal.
Yeah. So if you're selling a company to your partner, let me give you just one advice. Make sure the date. Basically, on my contract, I lost out a little bit of money. I thought I was going to be closer to 4. It's probably around 260, 250, right in that mark. But in the contract, my due diligence, I was ignorant. I didn't do the right things, right? I should have sent it to an attorney right away. I trusted the other partner. But it said I couldn't collect any money that was given to the company after January 1st. So you know how roofing goes. We can manipulate something from December to January to be pushed back. So there's a handful of them that good job for
conveniently didn't go through.
Good job
January.
for putting that in the contract. You did a good job of making yourself an extra couple $100,000. But yeah, dude, I was raging. I couldn't get access to the bank accounts. I couldn't get access to anything. I was raging, bro, to the point of like panic. Like, what the am I going to do in this life?
Yeah.
And then the darkness hits the next day when you realize like, oh, I just had a full team out busting their ass for me every day, and now it's just me. All right, put the pressure on, you know. But through that all, there was like this peace me and Rachel had about us, you know. Even though I'm struggling with this and I'm having a hard time, like me and Rachel are fine. It doesn't bother us at all.
I want to touch on that really quick because entrepreneurs, and this is not spoken on enough, in my opinion. You know, it gets lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine building something, pouring your heart and your energy and, you know, everything that you have into something and building it up, only to be told, I'm stealing this.
Yeah.
First of all, what a crazy way to say that.
Very interesting. And it might have been a little bit gentle, but it wasn't much more gentle than that.
It sounds very abrasive. But yeah, the loneliness and like everything is riding on that entrepreneur, on the owner. You know, all of the most complex problems, all of the financial liability. Yeah. You know, I don't think owners get enough credit. Everyone is just like take, right?
100%.
You know, Michael, I want to raise. Michael, I need more money. Michael, I want more leads. Like, so if you're listening and you guys appreciate your boss or your leader, go tell them that. For sure. Because I can assure you they don't hear it enough.
For sure.
And back to like the darkness, you know, it can get really dark. Mm-hmm. Like, especially when you are the sole provider for 5, 10, 15 individuals where your company feeds their family. Yep. Like, that is your responsibility. That falls on your shoulders. Yeah. It does create a sense of urgency and a sense of purpose, but on the flip side, it's like, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah. That is a ton of pressure. Yeah. So, you know, how did you cope with that?
Yeah. Man, the roofing world will chew you up and spit you out, truthfully. And sorry, something I've learned is you have to have thick skin. Like, in perspective, and I was talking to somebody this morning about this on the phone. In perspective, this is a business. What Brock fucking did was a business decision. It wasn't a personal attack, right? So imagine our business life is in a truck and we're driving down the highway, right? Our destination is Texas per se, you know, we have this destination and we're on that highway. Our trajectory is going to go down that highway. Now, Brock saying, sorry, let's edit that name out. This person saying, I want to take over the business was him taking the steering wheel going off the interstate into a new direction, and now he's facing that way. And that's the decision he wanted to make as a fucking business owner. And that's what he wanted to do. As a business owner, I wanted to have a small mom and pop, me and my wife shop. I didn't do that. But like, you know what I mean? That's the trajectory I was taking. And so I think too many people take business too personally, when at the end of the day, they have to realize, like, in my truck is my family. So my decision to do whatever I'm doing also lies on the trajectory of everybody in my seat in my truck, right? And it's my job to direct this truck and to make this truck make everyone in my family's lives beautiful. It's my job. So I think if people were less sensitive about business, they would come to realize that it wasn't a personal attack. This person taking the business from me was just business. It was a business move. Was it a little dirty? Was it a little unfair? Was it a little not cool? Sure. That's fine to say. We can say that his character might not match mine and the way we think about things. I would have done it different. But I realized at the end of the day, like, I was taking it too sensitive. You know what I mean? I was taking this on the chin, when in reality I should have taken it on my business chin. It wasn't me. It was a business. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people can get hurt with us as business owners when we have to make a business decision. And I think they get messed up in their heads with thinking that we don't have empathy in that, because some of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make were in business, because I had to make a business decision, one that's going to take this business and make it go forward, not be hurt, right? So I can be long-term and not short-term. And so, like, last year I had to get rid of a couple people off my team to open up that revenue for something else in my business. That's a business move, man. I love you as a person. What the truck you're driving is not going on the same route as me, and I think we need to go different trajectories, right?
You know, why CEOs get compensated so much. You know, sometimes you'll read in Forbes or whatever that, you know, the CEO just fired 30,000 people and, you know, they're getting a $50 million bonus or something like that. And CEOs, what I think a lot of people don't realize is, if you're a CEO, if you own a company, you are looking out for what is best for that company.
Yeah.
If that means letting go of someone,
100%.
that way 10 other people can stay there, those decisions have to be done.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not a personal attack on that one individual.
Yeah.
It's the longevity of the company.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, this is where spiritually it has to come back into play. All of this conversation, because 6 months after I sold Legacy Exteriors to this person, they got a cease and desist and had to stop business, dude. Like, God was fucking God was protecting me. I promise you, more than anything I know, that a higher power was protecting me. So that's basically what happened. He got a lawsuit, or he got a cease and desist from one person. He didn't pay a sales guy, and now he has a big lawsuit with the other one. So what's he gonna do? Welcome to
Time tells all.
He started a new company.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Man.
So you can beep this out, but Noah Guy Roofing, have you heard of them?
No.
Okay. Noah Guy Roofing is now what was something that I built, and they have the owner and a production manager in the company. So, I mean, no offense to them if they ever hear this video, you know what I mean? But if you look at the trajectory on the decision me and my wife took versus my partner, I am so happy he did it. I'm so happy, dude. I was stressed about $400K and like getting paid for so long. And I told Rachel, I looked at her one night and said, I met with attorneys. I was gonna go after a dude. And I looked at Rachel and said, this attention I'm giving this is going to make me more money if I give it back to myself. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm giving this attention to evolve, and I'm not suing anybody. I'm pushing forward and making my money.
What a profound realization.
Bro, I made so much money not stressing anymore. You know how much money I would have to pay attorneys and all the time I would have been off work to stressing over this?
Dude, you probably saved yourself years off the end of your life.
Dude, I know 100%. I brought on sales guys to my company and I built something instead of crying and just being me and Rachel and saying that, oh, this is it. I've done it so many times, dude. I've trained so many people. I'm talking about thousands of reps I've had under me over the course of the last 15 years. So, yeah, now we're at Evolve. And
so the name of your company?
Evolve Roofing and Siding.
Okay. Where can people find you online?
EvolveMyHome.com. Evolve My Home on all the social medias.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's not just you and Rachel.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your company.
Yeah, we have a really, really cool company. Me and my wife obviously are running the company. I work more with the sales team, the structure of the business, the day-to-days. Rachel does, last year she did a lot of back-end office stuff, and she still got on roofs. She still did a lot of support, but she did a lot of stuff that people don't see. So like the stuff that me and you probably hate doing, like collections and, stuff that we really need people to take off of our shoulders. So all the visionary training, leadership is pretty much me. All the fundamentals that need to be in a business are her.
So she's your integrator.
Exactly. So I'm more of a visionary, and she's going to be my integrator, helping me bring into existence. That's going to change this year, man. Like, we've really been processing what business looks like, and she's actually going to go back into sales. That's where she's finding the most passion in life. And so she's still going to be an owner and do stuff in the business, but she's going to be an owner and also sell. And we have a sales manager, Andrew, and he's going to take more of a leadership role with helping us on the back end too. So it's us. My mom obviously works with us. And then I think we have 6 people on our sales team, 2 people on our commercial side, 1 production manager and another production guy. And that's our company.
What does the production guy do, not the production manager?
So I have a belief system in roofing that I don't know how to say this without being offensive. Let me think. But if you let them take shortcuts, they're going to take shortcuts to get the job done early. And I've seen it so much throughout my career that when we sell a client now, we tell them along with your job is going to come somebody on the ground, and that's going to be your manager, your point of contact through the whole job, so you don't have to worry about calling somebody or worry about anything. So I have a guy that's pretty much at the jobs unless he's getting material or food for the guys, all day long, looking at the ground, because when you're installing a roof from the top, you really can't see what it looks like from the ground until you get off and step back. So we have a step back look all the time, and that's what my production guy does. And then my production manager, scheduling, ordering materials.
So you're not building more than 1 project a day right now?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
But I mean, you have 6 reps.
I missed that. We do build more than 1 in a day. But
is he just jumping around then?
A lot of times what we'll do is we'll pull our sales guy and have him run his job if we double up. But my production manager, and then one production guy overlooking a job, we try to schedule them close enough that we can have 2 being looked at the same time. But also my crew leads also speak really good English and are on the ground 100%. I make sure they have 1 guy. So I have 1 guy if he has to go out and switch or whatnot. Okay. So typically we're doing about 2 a day, 2 to 3 a day. In our busy time, sometimes we have to stack them. And if we are going to stack them, we pull our sales guy to watch the job during that time. And then I have backup people on my team that run production for me when I need it. You know what I mean? Like a sales guy who's selling all the time, doesn't mind going and sitting if I pay him money for 5 hours during the beginning of a roof job till we can get somebody there,
Do you mind elaborating a little bit? I mean, you touched on like the org chart, but on the compensation for sales reps?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a million ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of roofer owners that listen to the show. So that has been, so I bought Paul out in September. Mm-hmm. There were 3 of us to begin with. One of us flew off the handle. I'm not going to really get into that. Some of you guys know who I'm talking about. But Paul and me were essentially left, and he stepped away in September. I bought him out. And it's been challenging, to say the least. So I have completely, honestly, changed the entire business. Literally everything down to the CRM. And compensation has been a huge hurdle, honestly, because I've been racking my brain on, okay, do I pay on revenue? Do I pay on profit? Do I pay a percentage of revenue based off of profit? So do you mind touching on how you compensate your reps?
Yeah. Last year we did a trial run with a few different pay packages, so I can kind of describe those to you. But in my company, if you're entering and you're coming in for sales, the first thing you're going to see put in front of you is going to be a progression chart of what it could look like at Evolve, right? So we have an entry level. Entry level is going to be our canvassers, people that aren't really selling, but they're selling, right? So a canvasser, they do sell, but they're not really closing the deal. So he's in their entry level. So we like to have our entry level stay in like 6 months. I had somebody last year stay in 2 months, and he immediately graduated. So we have proficiency tests to get out of that, as well as me and you both know when somebody's going to be a killer, right? Like they're going to come in early to the office. They're going to come ask you the right questions. They're going to be out in the field all the time. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be consistent. So if I see that quickly, I'll move them up to a level 1. So our level 1 sales guy starts out at a 15, 50, 50.
So hold on. I come in as a canvasser. What do I have to hit to become a level 1?
I also didn't talk about paying on the entry level, but it kind of depends on the person. Last year, we tried out a couple different things, 17 an hour plus 25 a lead, or 75 per lead. Or we could come up with some unique ones, but like those were our 2 main ones.
Okay, and that's just any lead, even if it doesn't convert.
Correct.
Okay.
The roofer has to get on the roof.
Okay. And then you're tracking to make sure they're not just like, hey, Mike, I was working.
Yep.
Give me my 17 an hour.
Yep.
You're using what, like Sales Rabbit or Canvas?
We were using Spotio for a little bit.
Okay. I'm not familiar with them. But it's a door knocking software.
Yeah, I believe it was Spotio. Am I thinking of the right one? I don't remember. I was using one.
Okay.
And I don't know. I didn't really like how it was going. So now everything goes into our CRM and it gets put into the lead box, and then my sales manager audits the leads they got to make sure we're not just, because there's 2 things. One, the canvasser could, hey man, I make $75. Can you just say yes so I can make $75 today? And then the sales guy can get over and say, well, I don't know about this, because if the owner's paying me to get 5 leads a day, why should I try to close this one when I have 4 other ones that I'm going to get anyways? So what you can see is people like manipulating. It has to be very, very well managed. I will say that. But yeah, if somebody gets on the roof, it counts as a sale, and they move on to the next one. So they make $75. So I've literally had people go out in 3 hours and get 20 leads.
Wow.
Do the math.
Nice.
$1,500.
In one day.
One day. Yeah.
In one session.
One session. 3
so
hours.
Once I hit X amount of doors or X amount of leads, then I become a level 1.
It's more than that in my company, man. Like, my mission statement is integrity, respect, and care in everything we do. Right? That's culture. That's 101 culture, how to be a good fucking person in this life. So a lot of my company has to do with culture. If you're not the top performer, but you're invested and you're here and you're showing up, like, I'm going to try to push you harder, but you have to understand, as a roofing owner, you need average people. It's just what happens. Like, your average people get better and better. Your good people become your best, and everything kind of moves up. But average people are fine. They're not making the money they want to make. You're not making as much as you want off of them, but that also displays in how much attention they get on the team, to be honest. You know, if you're going to be average, you're going to get my average, you know? So, my big thing is culture. I don't have to have 100% knockout studs. I can have people that are just good sales guys that are trying to get better, and we can teach them skills to get better. We can teach them some things to get better. A lot of it's work ethic, consistency, and discipline. Like, that's what we're teaching these people, how to become men, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, once they get past the first entry level, it's a mandatory 6 months. I've moved them up sooner, but we also want them to have shown that they can get leads. And so what we want them to do is we want them to average 5 a week. If you can average 5 leads you talk to a week, you can close 2 of those deals, because we operate around 40 to 50% with getting the deal off the canvas closing ratios. So once they get 5, I show them, look, if you would have gotten 5 for a whole month, that's 2 a week. If you don't close them all, you close half of them, that's 2 a week. That's 8 deals a month. 8 times our average commission right now is probably $5,000. But 8 times $5,000 is what? What do you have to do to make money? You have to do the same thing I taught you every single day.
So going from level 1 to what then? Do you have a level 2?
Yeah, so entry level to level 1, they get a 15, 50, 50 coming on level 1. Level 2, 12, 50, 50. Level 3, 10, 50, 50.
And are they that overhead? So for those of you that don't know, when Michael is saying 15, 50, 50, 12, 50, 50, 10, 50, 50. That first number is overhead. That comes straight off the top. So basic example, I turn in $100,000. If I'm at 10, 50, 50, $10,000 comes right off the top, and that goes to paying for the company, paying for contracts, the CRM, apparel,
insurance,
insurance, exactly. And if you guys are starting a company, I want you to hear this. Overhead is not profit. I'm going to say it again. Overhead is not profit.
100%.
That is something I screwed up so bad. You know, it's so funny when you go back and you look at your entrepreneurial journey. You know, when we started Roof King, I thought I knew everything, dude. And looking back, I was a fucking moron.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, we would count overhead as profit.
Yeah.
Not realizing that it actually takes money to run a business.
Yep.
So, guys, gross profit is, if you guys are not focusing on gross profit and net profit being after the overhead is taken out, then you are going to fail. So make sure you guys hear that, especially if you're starting a company. So as a level 1, 15% overhead, what are they doing? Are they making their own estimates? Are they, like, what are they responsible for?
Yeah. You know, we have our company set up so you get paid less, the less you know how to do. You get paid more, the more you know how to do. So my sales manager used to be an insurance adjuster. So he knows insurance as well as I do. You know, he's been doing it 5 years with me, but like I've been doing it 15 years. He knows it even better than me. Policy language, how to train it. So your level 1 is your training zone. You're learning the basics. So we have, I'll show you after this, but we have classes for each one. So you have to get through certain classes once you get to level 1. Once you get to level 2, you have to take a test and do classes as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And then level 3 in my company opens you up to the opportunity of becoming a leader. So once you hit level 3, you know everything. You're showing your culture is in with my company, your discipline, your work ethics all in with my company. Now you can teach other people how to do it.
And then you'll get an override on those individuals.
100%.
What's that override look like?
I mean, I've seen it as high as 2 to 5%. With how I pay my guys and I supplement their deals, we get their deals fat. So on average, my guys are making 17 to 25% commission off of any deal they turn in.
Wow.
So they don't really, I don't know, the money is there, you know. It just depends on how much experience they have leading as salespeople, what all they're going to be able to train. But typically you're going to see that be about 2% right now in our industry. And then if they hit their goals, 3%. I've seen it as high as 5%. I think is the highest I've seen it, maybe 6%. But I would say 2% is a safe place as an owner for overrides.
It's difficult for me to compete with some of these other companies because they are, you know, our overhead is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, our overhead was way too high.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm embarrassed to admit what percentage of overhead we averaged in 2025. Honestly, probably the toughest year of my entire life. And I think for a lot of exterior renovation owners, that theme was the exact same for them throughout 2025. I don't know, maybe you can touch on that. Was it a hard year for you?
Yeah, 2025 was different than all the other years so far.
So I would have to agree. And you have these, you know, the barrier of entry for roofing is very low. So you have companies that are just starting out that are offering, 15 or 20% of revenue. They're offering a 5% override on their guys.
Yeah.
And what some people don't realize is those companies are not going to exist in 12 to 24 months.
Yeah.
And that is one of the hardest things about running a business is the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you mostly there. You said they're not going to be here in the next couple of years. Or they're going to be here and just keep cycling through those sales guys over and over again. Because me and you both know. I know of one specific roofing company.
We're thinking of the same
person,
person, I guarantee
it. We're thinking of the same
it.
person, dude. I just feel like I've seen it on TikTok or something. But, dude, you watch their pattern of behavior. They hire a sales guy. They say, bring it on your whole team. I'll give you 5 to 10%. They bring it on their whole team. All right, I'm not paying you. and now they're just out.
Well, that's what happened to you.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people are poaching my top guy right now. He meets with me. We meet every week, dude. And he's like, every single time I'm like, who tried to recruit you this week? I already know, dude. He's like, yeah, these guys at the gym, they own this company. And my dad knows this person that knows this company. It's like, dude, go work for him. Go see what it's like on the other side. Go see. I promise you. Go see.
So do you pay him a salary?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No straight commission. But if you realize the numbers, he's making doctor money, dude.
Well, and that's one of the coolest things about roofing. You know, I think that high ticket sales is a cheat code to financial freedom.
100%.
I think that roofing is an even bigger cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I was saying this on the way over here. You know, when you're selling a yacht or a supercar or a plane, you're getting paid like you're selling a high ticket item. When you're selling a roof, especially if you're going through insurance, you're selling a high ticket item, a $50, $60, $70, $100,000 roof, but you're selling it for a fraction of the cost. You're selling it for a deductible.
Yep.
So it's almost like you're giving it away.
100%.
So someone with no experience can come in and they can do okay.
Yeah.
Someone with a little bit of experience can come in and absolutely crush.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's, man, when people say the roofing world's changed, I don't think it has that much. There's a few things that slow our money down a little bit from coming in. You know what I mean? But I think what's changed is the people that are leading the industry. If you go onto Facebook roofing drama right now, dude, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's everywhere. It's just a bunch of drama queens on Facebook.
I haven't. Educate me. Drama? What are you talking about?
Dude, I'm not. No. Yeah. You know, buying call center leads, and the call center leads are not coming out. A lot of these companies are getting exposed, you know. But I think that being a part of the right leadership is really key. And I don't think the right leadership is poaching off of, I'm not poaching your guys. I've never poached your guys. I've never poached one of your yard signs, and we work in the same markets. We're competition, and we hung out today. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's so big because what I've found out is that people at the bottom compete, people at the top collaborate.
100%.
But kind of playing into that, if you're not poaching, how are you finding good leaders? Because I understand the concept of curating your own leaders. And obviously you're a fantastic leader.
Yeah.
You know the industry.
Yeah.
You know what to do.
Yeah.
But that takes time.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to scale fast,
yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. So I was in a meeting with, I don't know if I can say his name. All the top people at Fiesel. Okay. Like people I really, really, really respect in this life. We were, all the different states got together once a year and we met. So I was in charge of Indiana at the time. So I was representing my team. And everybody was there, all the GMs, all the VPs, CEOs. Okay. We sat down and went through all of our salespeople. Like we all went through our salespeople, and they asked a question that I will never, ever, ever forget. And he said, where did all of our new salespeople come from? Where do you think it was from?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Probably other companies.
It was recruited from people already in your fucking company. My mind blew. Oh, so I just have to recruit. And the thing is like, just because you bring somebody onto the company doesn't mean you get an override on that person. We're going to teach them how to make money. We might give you a bonus. So that's what we started doing, dude. Hey, if your person stays on for 2 months, we'll give you a wad of cash. Do you want a wad of cash? You know what I mean? And so that's where I took off recruiting. It was all within. If you can recruit 1 or 2 people to believe in you and what you're doing, and you have conviction in your heart and you have the confidence to pitch it, somebody's going to believe in what you have. And now somebody's going to believe in that person, and it just trickles down. It's like a church, dude. Think about churches. The very first church in Columbus, Ohio probably came, and somebody was like, hey, I started going to church, and then they brought their friends. And then they started going to church, and they brought their friends. How do churches grow? To be totally transparent, I don't go to church. I have a very good relationship with my divine, right? But I don't go to church. I don't consistently. My kids love to go to church. They want me to go to church. But, you know, at this point in my life, like I have a relationship with God. Separately, the church recruits the same way we do. The church is full of profit too. You know what I mean? There's money coming into churches. There's a lot of pastors driving really nice cars. But they got their people to buy into their mission, believe in them, believe in what they were saying, believe in the truth they were saying in churches, right? And then they tell their friends. Then they tell their family. Then their family's friends tell their family's friends. And now it's a big referral network of all the people that know each other, right?
So
Same
with
way.
that being said, obviously culture plays such a large role. You've already touched on that. So how do you create such an awesome culture?
Yeah. There's a few things we set up in our company that are like parameters that if it gets crossed, we know. So a lot of it's accountability. And from the head to the very bottom of my company, the very last person I hired to me and Rachel, we have an open door policy. And so at any time, if there's something that is offensive or did come up, we decided in our company that you should go right to the person you have a problem with. We want to have that open door policy. There's a lot of personalities that can not interact the best, you know. I'm very outgoing. I might be too much in your face for like an engineer who doesn't talk to people. You know what I mean? Like we might not get along, and that's okay. You don't always have to get along. But, you know, creating a culture that's safe, a culture that's not about the money. My first roofing company, everybody, including me, everybody had Rolexes. Everybody was trying to buy the nicest things. And that's just not how I live my life now. I sold everything, dude. I didn't care. But creating a culture that holds true to having integrity, respect, and care is what we do. So, like, if you make a decision in my company and it doesn't have integrity, respect, and care, why are you making it? And that's not how we operate.
So how big is your company now? You said about 6 sales reps?
6 sales reps, 3 production. Yeah, I'd say we have like 10 people in our company.
What's your plan for 2026? Are you looking to scale?
Yeah. We're pushing it.
Why'd you say it like that?
We just have been working really hard at creating all of our... In order to scale, dude...
Drop some bombs on them.
Yeah, okay. So setting up a proper system to scale is going to be a system that if it pivots, it doesn't get damaged, right? So creating that system that has leeway is a little bit tough, right? So the way I want to scale is not going to be the way I've scaled every single year. It's through my leadership. So my scaling started like 6 months ago when I decided, hey, Rachel, it's not just going to be me and you on the leadership team. We're now going to have a full-on leadership team. So an owner, right? The sales manager, a commercial team, a production team, an office team, right? That was my scaling. Now my systems, I have parameters to scale. Every one of those person knows what the next person's going to do. So right now I'm like in the ramp up, dude. Everybody's like slow in the winter. I'm like, let's go. We're ramping up. So I talked to you about, we've been shooting a lot of recording videos for training. Our training is going to go next level this year. And then my accountability. So as soon as somebody's hired on my company, they know what step they're in and they know what step they're going to, right? So now that I have that planned out, I have the right leadership in. It took a couple of years for the leadership, but now that I have that in, our guys are pumped with bringing on their friends this year. And that's where it's at, dude. I'm telling you. Get your guys to believe in what they're doing enough to tell their friends to do it as well. That's it.
So I think one of the biggest hurdles I'm struggling with right now is we're hiring a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're onboarding, between 1 and 4 people a week.
Yeah.
And these are not experienced sales reps.
Yeah.
They're going to need a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things that we've been struggling with is I need leaders so bad.
Mm.
And I'm starting to almost second guess myself a little bit. It's like, am I doing this backwards?
Yeah.
Because I need leaders,
Yeah.
but I don't have them. And it's like, if I have 50, 60 reps, like, what does that look like? What kind of problems is that going to bring to the company?
Mm-hmm.
Because you touched on this at the very beginning of the recording. When you and Rachel broke off, it was just you guys. It was no overhead. It was no problems.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest struggles in business is managing personalities. I think it's harder than managing money.
100%.
So with all of those personalities, I need some sort of separation between me and the sales reps, not because I'm better than them.
Yes.
Because I need to work on the business,
yes,
not for the business.
100%.
So give me some advice. What would you suggest for someone like me that's hiring these reps, but maybe lacks the leadership?
Mm. Yeah. So you're...
Brianna Consultant?
Yeah. Let me come change your business today. No, man. Oh, so this is a very interesting topic because I remember sitting 2 years ago in a driveway with one of my sales reps, Andrew, my now sales manager, and saying, Andrew, if I could get everybody off of my plate, I would grow this business crazy. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I'm not trying to like get mad at you or tell you like you suck or anything, but to be honest, like you asked me to come out here, I have something to do after this, and I also own the company, and I also want to bring on new salespeople, and I want to do this. So, I mean, it just depends if you have the capital enough to invest into a really good sales leader, or if you have the energy enough to invest your time into it instead of that money, right? So in my company, I said, fuck it, I'm the sales manager until a year and a half ago, a year ago. So, no, 6 months ago, you know? So I'm just now being able to structure and work and do things that I've wanted to do the last 3 years, but I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to not make money, right? So if that takes me as an owner knocking a door and making that money so I can have that money to double and then to double it again, I'm going to do it 100% of the time. Throw me out to the wolves, I'm going to find a way to win, you know? And I think that's where a lot of people in my shoes would have found another roofing company to work for. After you lost your own, I could have consulted. I made good money. People pay good money to consult, right? But that's not what I wanted, dude. Like, we're going to win. So me and Rachel sold hard our first year. And then we had guys watching us our second year. You know, I was able to train more. And then my third year, I'm able to, okay, now I get a break. Now I can step back and work on my company. So maybe the answer isn't what you want to hear, but you might have to get a little more involved until that person displays themselves. That's my honest opinion about it. Or the more expensive route is to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's two options: pay for it or do it. Because I think you have the leadership ability to be able to lead a team. That's not the role you want to operate in. But if you need a placeholder, who's the best one? You know, if sales is what, this is what, I was thinking about this today. If sales and the front side is what drives numbers and me making more money as an owner, why would I not be more invested into that side as well? You know what I mean? If my influence led somebody to quit what they were doing and join my team, why wouldn't my influence also push them to make $1 million, you know, or sell $1 million? So I think as an owner, it's our responsibility to become that in a way where it's also going to work with being a business owner. And I think that's the balance that new businesses kind of have, or in your terms, like restructured businesses, because you used to be 3 and now you're 1. So that's a lot different. You know, you used to be able to share a lot of owner responsibilities and delegate. So now there's just 1. You know, even with Rachel, she wasn't a business owner before owning a business with me. There were some things I just had to take on the chin and do as a sales manager. And so my biggest thing is first off, I want you to understand that I am for happy life. Like, I'm way, way, way for happy life. What's going to make you happy in life? And then pursue that, right? You want to pursue that, but you also are trying to build a business that's going to grow and take off. And I know you, Jared, and you want to put gas on it. And you want to push, and you want to hit that 15 million. You want to hit that 20 million. Then you want to hit that 50. You could push this, and you can bring on as many reps. If you want to get there, it might take a little bit more of that influence that started to get them in the company, just a little bit trickle after until they're able to be handed off to somebody, right? And then if they're handed off to somebody, I think that's where leaderships will rise up in your business if you have the right people.
I think that, you know, we've been doing daily trainings. I think that's a huge thing. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it. Role playing. I think we've done a really good job. I don't know what your onboarding looks like, but yeah. I think mine is some of the best in the entire state.
Yeah.
I want to go as fast as I can.
100%.
You know what I mean? I want to be a Ferrari, not a locomotive. And this year is going to be an interesting year because with changing everything, with bringing all these new reps on, you know, I also want to simplify my life. And I'm not afraid to work hard. I mean, I'll work harder than anyone. I'll work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm not afraid of that. I enjoy working. I enjoy working hard. But also enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And actually, I love that you just said, like, enjoying your life, because, man, managing all those people directly is a huge energy suck.
Yes. Yes, for sure. For sure.
So I'm not sure. Maybe I just need to, I'm going to have to pay for it if I want to go fast.
I think so. I mean, like, if you're 100% sure that having a leader is, like, you have the guys, you just need somebody to manage them to micro to macro, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what the big guys are doing. Like, these investor people who are buying these firms that are buying companies, they're paying for the leadership to sit in there because they know with everything I have can teach them, they're going to keep going and making money, right? It's going to work if I have it. I think the second thing is you did a really, really, really good job with making videos for your training. When did you guys start doing that?
Dude, I started almost right away because I was basically in charge of hiring and onboarding everyone, and I was trying to automate it. So I started recording myself immediately.
I think you're ahead of the game, dude. Like, I don't think people are right now. I don't know if you need somebody as talented as a sales manager to manage if you've already have all the recordings that all they have to do is press play and let the other person watch. You know what I mean? If you've already done a bulk of the sales training, I might look into some different things if I was you in the AI world to see, like, hey, if I have everybody reporting to one place their numbers, because we need to really keep track of, like, key things when people first start. And it's stuff that, like, at an owner position, you would not want to. Hey, how many hours did you work? Hey, how many doors did you knock? Hey, how many closes did you have? Hey, how many appointments did you run? And then what's your closing percentage, right? We need to know those things. But I got pitched on some AI last year that blew my mind with what they could do. So maybe you could almost replicate yourself in a bot, honestly, and use your training and your bot, and this is how we keep people on track. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There could be some stuff there. Obviously, my gut says a real person's going to be the best thing in the world, but there might be some other things because you laid the groundwork and set forth this is how you sell a roof. You know what I mean?
I'll have to show you. We have a Slack bot that I did just that.
Yeah.
And it has all the codes and the laws in the state of Ohio. It has all of our flow chart. You know, if you have literally any question, you go there, you ask it, and it answers for you.
That's sweet.
I'm going to pivot really quick because, you know, was anyone in your family an entrepreneur?
Yeah, my grandpa was a farmer, and I don't know if that's an entrepreneur, but yeah, my grandpa was a farmer.
So did you learn from your grandfather? So you
No.
taught yourself?
Yeah. So when I was 7th grade, I played on the varsity soccer team in 7th grade, and the coach also went to my church, and he was a business mentor to me. So I was able to live with him for 6 months, 7 months when I was a teenager. Like, he taught me everything. So he bought Bailey's Glass and Mirror, and his name's Scott Ramsey. He's an awesome dude, but he taught me a lot about business. Now we kind of have different kinds of businesses and how we operate, but he gave me the beginning, like, here's what it is. This is what you do, right? But, dude, ever since I was young, I mean, I would buy, if we had a neighborhood yard sale, I would go and buy all the bikes because I know everyone would spend money on bikes. And I would have a monopoly of bikes in our driveway, and I would sell them for double the price because I was the only one with bikes. You know, in high school, I worked at Tim Hortons, and I didn't have to go to school until like 10 because I had so many credits. And so I'd bring in tons of dozens of Tim Hortons donuts, and I would make cash, or I would go to Costco when I was in high school and fill it up, my locker up with candy and snacks because I knew I wanted some.
So you've always been hustling.
Dude, always.
So for someone that's starting out,
do
you have any resources or any recommendations? Because business is hard.
Yeah. Dude, I meet with a lot of young business owners that are just getting started out. There's a guy named Luke Neal who just started a detailing business. Shout out Luke. But you know, he comes to me all the time, and we'll talk and ask questions, and he'll give me feedback on what I have to give him. But I don't know if there probably is some resources they could get into. I think the biggest problem that everybody has is money. Like how am I going to start this? I need money. And of course, Americans, we live in a life that if I make $3,000 a month in commission, I'm going to make sure I have $3,000 a month in payments to take care of. You know what I mean? So a lot of people can't just get up and leave, and go. But yeah, my first company was called Freedom Clean Company, and we cleaned houses, and my overhead was $0. So, I mean, you could do that on the side. You don't have to be something crazy and official to get started. It's $95, maybe $99 for an LLC, and you get insurance, $600 a month. Like, what else do you need? You need your mouthpiece to go out and find the deals, right? Like, that's a big quality that I have is I can just go get deals. I can make them show up.
So if you were starting a business or giving advice to someone starting a business, you would A, keep your overhead low. You would B, leverage AI. We have a ton of resources now. Do you have any like other resources, books, or something that you've read or?
Yeah. It depends on like what businesses, but there's a few good books on market gaps. And I think if you're looking for something that's going to take off and make you money instantly, you should start researching and just looking up the term market gap. What is a market gap? Go into that industry, and now you can see where a niche could be in that market where a market gap would fit. Okay. So a market gap in our market is Pella windows, aluminum windows. They get damaged by hail. Nobody sells them. That's the designer window program I started for Fiesel. I found that market gap. We hit that market gap. So I think finding the right market gaps, and then I'm not going to say partners are always bad. Like, I had a great partner in my power washing company. It was fine. I didn't have any problems with it. My wife is the best partner I've ever had, not just because she's beautiful and she's lovely, but she's the best partner I'd ever have. Even if she wasn't my wife, 100 days out of 100 days, I would choose her. So I think if you don't have the money, you're going to need to start looking for a loan or some way to get money, or find an investor or find a partner. Like, those are your options. But if you have an idea and you know it can work, why wouldn't you try it? Try it. Get out there and see if it'll make you money. Like, get out there and talk to people about it. Talk to mentors. So if I was starting a business today and I knew it was going to work, I would immediately call my mentors. They say in life, it's about who you meet and what you read. Those are two things that matter. So I'd get in touch with my mentors, and I would start telling people my idea. A lot of people, if they're good, are going to give you feedback. Okay. My buddy started an AI company. He came to me and pitched it. I was like, dude, this isn't right. He met with his mentors. They pivoted. Now they sell insurance through AI. That's their whole company model. Nothing else. Just insurance sold through AI. Right. So they had to go through and find the market gap, a better niche, but it was coming from mentors. Right. So talk to people like Jared. Talk to people like me. Somebody came to me a couple of years ago like, hey, I want to start a power washing company. Cool, let's do it. I'll be the investor on it. Let's go. Right? So it's tough these days in business because we could be talking about a lot of different things like retail versus what we do, construction world. But I would say find something that you're good at doing if you want to do in business, because business ownership is not for everybody. Make sure you're ready for it. Because there's going to be months where you're paying other people instead of yourselves. There's going to be months where, I mean, dude, even if you look at our last 12 months, we have over $500,000 waiting on the mortgage company to mail our homeowners back the check. You know what I mean? Like, that's not normal in any business to be waiting 3 or 4 months, let alone more than that, to get final payment. So I don't think business is for everybody. I think some people work better as an entrepreneur with a business owner than just going out and being an entrepreneur on their own.
So right? An entrepreneur.
Yeah. Exactly. Entrepreneur. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people that we see in business in the roofing world would be way better as an entrepreneur than an entrepreneur, but that's just my opinion.
A lot of the time the second guy in command actually has less liability, less responsibility, and makes more money.
Yep,
than 100%. The owner. So, but what I'm hearing from you is, there's a book, maybe you've read it, Who, Not How. And it's all about your network is your net worth, basically, right? And something that you said is mentorship. And it's so important.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I didn't have anything that was given to me, you know, a loan. You know, there's that famous saying from Donald Trump, my father gave me a loan of $1 million.
Yeah.
And I mean, arguably, if you turn $1 million into a fucking $1 billion, that is a hell of a feat.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that. My mom cleaned houses. My dad worked his ass off. He sold security. And so I didn't have a resource to go to.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was friends with a couple business owners. One specifically, Travis Collette, who started Collette Roofing out of Springboro. And he offered that mentorship that I really needed. But I think it's so important to really utilize your network and leverage the resources that you guys have for free. You know, we ran Roof King up to our biggest year was 9.2 collected with no debt.
Yeah.
And that's not common. And I think if you guys can stay away from accumulating a lot of debt, keeping your overhead low, and using mentors, that's going to get you where you want to go the fastest.
Yeah.
And just realize that this shit is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
So if you guys choose something that you even halfway enjoy, go all in. You know, don't get shiny object syndrome, because it's so easy with TikTok and Instagram. You know, you see these 20-something-year-olds that are driving Lamborghinis, right? Something else that I'll say is you're comparing yourself, if you guys are comparing yourself to those individuals, you're comparing your guys' self to maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 people out of 8 billion people on planet Earth.
Yeah.
There are, I don't know, 10% of the population that doesn't even have access to clean drinking water. And you guys are comparing yourself to a 20-something that's driving a Lamborghini, okay? That's not normal. So don't compare. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare yourself. Use your mentors and leverage your resources. Yeah. So if people want to find you, where can they find you online?
Yeah. Facebook, Mike Dixon. Mike Dixon Official on Instagram. And then it's the same on the TikToks. So social media is my main place that I hang out, is Instagram and TikTok, if people are reaching out to me, for sure.
So what's next for Michael Dixon?
Yeah, dude.
When are you going to write a book?
Whew, there's a lot in the works, not a book yet, but...
a plant business?
A plant business, yes. I love houseplants. I love a lot of things. So... Dude, it's so hard. I mean, we talked about, I used to sell sneakers, and I'd flip sneakers. We'd spend 20, 30 grand at these sneaker shows and then flip them in a week. That was cool. I've learned not to make my hobbies about, include money with it. When you start attaching money with your hobbies, it's not as fun anymore. So, I don't know. Hobby-wise, I'm keeping my hobbies hobby. That's my goal, to be honest, because I always... As an entrepreneur, I always try to make money off of things that make me happy.
Yeah.
So my goals this year is to make sure I keep my hobbies because I want to enjoy my life. Plants slow me down. I'm gonna take care of my baby plants. Additionally, dude, little T, I believe a good company is a company that can surround itself with other companies that will lift it up. Okay. So you see our roofing company, within the next 2 years, you're going to see about 6 companies surround, evolve, and support us better. And it's going to be all owned by me. So
okay. So like Rachel. A little ecosystem.
Yeah.
So what are we talking here? Can you shed some light on that? Like a landscaping?
Yeah, I'll give you a hint about it. Yeah.
Pest control? What are we talking
We already
here?
have our own dumpster company. We already run our own dumpsters. So eventually I'd like to... add variety than just roofing. So everything that comes around the house, interior, exterior. I like where we're at now, and something I was talking about on my training I'm doing for my team is, I think some people, they do roofing and they run an insurance claim and all of a sudden they're siding on it. So now they do siding. Let's add that to the portfolio. That's 2 things. Now we get a window that gets added on. Oh, we can do windows now. We're in window experts. That's 3 things. Now let's add gutters. gutters. That's 4 things. Oh, we got an interior leak. It messed the drywall up. Oh, now we do drywall. Dude, fuck all of that. I want to, right now in this point in my career, I'm almost to the point where I can say I am not concerned whatsoever about anything that comes our way, roofing, siding, gutters. Like sales, anything. We're not at that point. I'm almost at that point. I'm waiting for a reason. You know what I mean? If you don't learn to walk before you run, you sprint and fucking fall down, right? I don't want to be that person. So I've learned to take things the slow route and slowly build something. I didn't want to hit 10 million my first year. Honestly, it would have been too much stress on me. I would have cracked. You guys, that's crazy, right? So I'm learning to walk before I can run. But if you do want to start a business and you are an entrepreneur and you do have a really good vision, you just are not going to execute it yet, I think you should get it into motion, right? So all of my things are going into motion. And the same thing I suggest, I'm meeting my business mentors about this. Hey, is this a sound idea? Is there anything that could go wrong? I'm looking for investors right now that want to add to it. So yeah, it's going to be, you're going to see variety stem from Evolve, but Evolve's not going to change at all. I'm just going to have leaders in different companies that help support our main company.
So something he just touched on, guys, Gary Vaynerchuk always says this: massive, imperfect action. You know, it's not about getting it right. It's about doing it. Mm-hmm. And, dude, I'll be honest, we have to run this back. I think this has been one of the most valuable podcasts I've ever recorded.
Dope.
Dude, I really, really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
So you said people can find you. You said Mike Dixon Official?
Mike Dixon Official on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, be on the lookout for this guy. He's a mover and a shaker, and I feel like 2026 is probably going to be a good year for you.
Yeah, killing it this year for sure. And thank you for having me on, dude. Like, we're talking on the phone the other day, and every single topic we were like, dude, I got to write this down.
Yeah.
And in both ways, right? Like, I think this morning, the text I sent you, where there's friction, there's the potential of a fire. So if things are tough, any entrepreneur, anybody out there that's really struggling, whether it's money, emotional, if you're having anxiety, if you're going through depression, if you're going through anything right now, like the same words I told you, bro, like friction is tough, but friction can also start a fire, right? So even though things are fucking tough, even though things aren't going your way, even though things should have been different by now, right? That's not what it's about, dude. That's not success. Look, a couple years ago, 3 people owned Roof Kings. Now you're the sole fucking owner of Roof Kings. That's a cool I think that's success. You've outshone anybody else that tried to run this with you. So kudos to you. Kudos to anybody, any entrepreneur out there that's going through a hard time. So is a lot of us, right? And friction creates fires. Keep going. Don't stop. Keep pressing. Dude, like the voice inside of your head that says, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Is sometimes a lie. And that's your insecurities. And if you start fascinating on your insecurities, and you start showing attention to your insecurities, you're going to start getting into some thought distortion where I'm thinking one way and I'm believing that's the truth. I am believing the insurance is going to change in the United States. Dude, I believe that's complete thought distortion. I'm sorry, but our first deal of the year was like $95,000. 100% insurance. Guess what their deductible was? $0. They had a $0 deductible. So I'm sorry, but you tell me the insurance world's changing. I'm telling you that's thought distortion. You know, we create these things in our mind to create a belief system that because things in life are going the way it does and it's affecting me the way it does and my thoughts are going this way, that all of that is true. Bro.
That is so impactful.
It's so okay to have friction.
So really quick before we cut this off, because I want people to hear this.
Yeah.
If you're a business owner and you are feeling burnt out, if you're struggling to get up in the morning, if you are questioning yourself, if you're pouring your time and your energy and your resources and every ounce of your being into something, not knowing if it's going to succeed, if you're at your wall, you do start creating stories in your head. And perception is reality. I've always said that. You can change your perception. If you change your perception, you change your reality.
Yep.
So how does someone that is in that specific circumstance, that feels like they're at the end, that feels burnt out, give some words of advice to those individuals.
Yeah. I'm going to pull some spiritual stuff into here.
Please.
But I like a book called the Bible, okay? And I think the Bible provides a lot of truth. Even if you don't believe in it, there's some truth in there, okay? And it says, the just shall live by what? This says, the just shall live by faith. The just doesn't live by feelings. So something, as an owner, that we have to understand, back to the business is just fucking business. This ain't about your feelings. Your feelings are gonna lie. Your feelings are gonna say, oh, I took a negative hit last year. I didn't make money. What should I do? Maybe I should shut the doors. You're having those feelings because you're feeling the pressure, dog. The pressure is either gonna mold you into a diamond or it's gonna squash you, right? So a business owner cannot live by feelings. They have to live in faith, and it doesn't even have to be in the divine. Believe in your fucking self. You know, you have it within you. You've proved to me within the last 4 days, me and you've been talking back and forth and just became friends, that I can believe in you, dude. I can get behind this guy. I can support this guy. Like, believe in yourself now. That's it. It's inward now. You've believed in so many people to succeed in your life. And even Roof Kings in the last 3 years. Even Evolve in the last 3 years, right? So I think it's not giving up and not living by feelings anymore. Letting those feelings go. Business is business. It's going to be tough. Buck up, boy. Thicken your skin. It's time to hit the road. You know? Let's keep going.
Drop the mic on it. And building that confidence is so much easier than you guys think. It is literally just doing the things that you tell yourself you're going to do.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself you're going to read 10 pages, read 10 pages. If you tell yourself you're going to walk a mile, walk a mile. Because every time you guys do the things that you say, you make a deposit into your self-confidence.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest things that I struggled with was, you know, I would say something and then I wouldn't get around to it. And it would ruin my confidence.
Yes.
Then I would start second guessing myself. And then it's like this loop of negativity. And man, it's really difficult to get out because at a certain level, and by no means is Roof King a big company, but like it's difficult to relate to other people. And maybe it's not necessarily the size of the company, but just the goals that I have for myself.
Yeah.
You know, when I walk into a room and I'm talking to people and I tell them my goals, I get some interesting feedback. You know, a lot of the time when I tell people that I want the largest exterior renovation company on the East Coast in a decade, they're like, oh, he's just saying that for attention. You know, it's difficult to articulate those goals and, you know, ambitions you have for yourself. So to really build that confidence up, just doing the things you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Bro, I've absolutely loved this podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
For sure.
We have to run this back, specifically because I meant to talk to you about thought distortion.
Yeah.
I actually wrote it down in my notes, and we didn't talk about it. So for those of you listening, Michael and I are absolutely going to run this back in a month or so.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners before we adjourn?
Man, I'm really passionate about giving everything your 100%. So just keep giving it your 100%. Don't live by your feelings. Thicken your skin and realize business is just business. And sometimes, like there's a book called The 12-Week Year. It says just go. How do you get started? You just go. If you're having trouble to get 2026 going, just fucking go.
Just go. Sometimes the hardest door to open is your car door.
100%. Yeah. I thank you for having me, man.
Dude, absolutely. This has been fantastic. For those of you listening, stay tuned. We're definitely going to run this back. Shout out Jair for recording, and we'll see you next time. Take care.